Hi, everybody. This is Allison from Allykatkreations. How are you? I'm going to distract myself from very dark, very depressing feelings by reading the Book of Enoch. I'm really excited for this. I got a 1955 PDF version of the book that I'm going to read. Very happy to receive this PDF. It's not white, so my eyes won't be going crazy reading a screen, but bear with me as always. So this is not the Keys of Enoch, which is by J.J. Hertek. This is the Book of Enoch. Just like Carlos Castaneda, I'm going to be reading this book in that way. So buckle up. Book of Enoch, Chapter 1. The word of the blessing of Enoch, how he blessed the elect and the righteous, who were to exist in the time of trouble, rejecting all the wicked and ungodly. Enoch, a righteous man, who was with God, answered and spoke, while his eyes were open and while he saw a holy vision in the heavens. This the angels showed me. From them I heard all things and understood what I saw, that which not take place in this generation, but in a generation which is to succeed at a distant period, on account of the elect. Upon their account I spoke and conversed with him, who will go forth from his habitation, the Holy and Mighty One, the God of the world, who will hereafter tread upon Mount Sinai, appear with his hosts, and be manifested in the strength of his power from heaven. All shall be afraid, and the watchers be terrified. Great fear and trembling shall seize them, even to the ends of the earth. The lofty mountains shall be troubled, and the exalted hills depressed, melting like a honeycomb in the flame. The earth shall be emerged, and all things which are in it perish. While judgment shall come upon all, even upon all the righteous. But to them shall he give peace. He shall preserve the elect, and towards them exercise clemency. Then shall all belonging to God be happy and blessed, and the splendor of the Godhead shall illuminate them. It's what we're going through right now. If you see the world and how it's moving through, again, I read a lot of these books within the context of here and now. We're moving through this time. Chapter 2. Behold, he comes with 10,000 of his saints to execute judgment upon them and destroy the wicked and reprove all the carnal for everything which the sinful and ungodly have done and committed against him. Chapter 3. All who are in the heavens know what is transacted there. They know that the heavenly luminaries change not their paths, that each rises and sets regularly, every one at its proper period, without transgressing the commands which they have received. They behold the earth and understand what it is there transacted from the beginning to the end of it. They see that every work of God is invariable in the period of its appearance. They behold summer and winter, perceiving that the whole earth is full of water, and that the cloud, the dew, and the rain refresh it. Chapter 4. They consider and behold every tree, how it appears to wither and every leaf to fall off, except of 14 trees, which are not deciduous, which wait from the old to the appearance of the new leaf for 2 or 3 winters. Chapter 5. Again, they consider the days of summer, that the sun is upon it at its very beginning, while you seek for a covered and shady spot on account of the burning sun, while the earth is scorched up with the fervent heat, and you begin incapable of walking either upon the ground or upon the rocks in consequence of that heat. Chapter 6. They consider how the trees, when they put forth their green leaves, become covered and produce fruit, understanding everything and knowing that he who lives forever does all these things for you, that the works at the beginning of every existing year, that all his works are subservient to him and invariable, yet as God has appointed, so are all things brought to pass. They see too how the seas and the rivers together complete their respective operations. But you endure not patiently, nor fulfill the commandments of the Lord, but you transgress and culminate his greatness, and in malignant are the words in your polluted mouths against his majesty. Ye withered in heart, no peace shall be you. Therefore, your days shall you curse, and the years of your lives shall perish. Perpetual exasperation shall be multiplied, and you shall not obtain mercy. In those days shall you resign your peace with the eternal maledictions of all the righteousness, and sinners shall perpetually execrate you. Shall execrate you with the ungodly. The elect shall possess light, joy, and peace, and they shall inherit the earth. But you, ye unholy, shall be accursed. Then shall wisdom be given to the elect, all of whom shall live and not again transgress by impiety or pride, but shall humble themselves, possessing prudence, and shall not repeat transgression. They shall not be condemned the whole period of their lives, nor die in torment and indignation, but the sum of their days shall be completed, and they shall grow old in peace, while the years of their happiness shall be multiplied with joy and with peace forever, the whole duration of their existence. We're looking at that right now, aren't we? Chap 7. It happened after the sons of men had multiplied in those days that daughters were born to them, elegant and beautiful. And the angels, the sons of heaven, beheld them. They became enamored of them, saying to each other, come, let us select for ourselves wives from the progeny of men, and let us beget children. Then their leader, Samziah, said to them, I fear that you may perhaps be indisposed to the performance of this enterprise, and that I alone shall suffer for so grievous a crime. But they answered him and said, we all swear. and bid ourselves by mutual XXIVs that we will not change our intention, but execute our projected undertaking. Then they swore all together and all abound themselves by mutual XXIVs. Their whole number was 200, who descended upon Ardis, which is the top of Mount Armon. The mountain there was called Armon because they had swore upon it and bound themselves by mutual XXIVs. These are the names of their chiefs: Simziah, who was their leader, Varamiel, Archibel, Tamiel, Ramiel, Daniel, Ezekiel, Sarachaniel, Asael. And I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And if I'm not, I'm sorry. You guys know me by now. If you're reading this, if you're listening to this, just an FYI, I don't pronounce nothing right. I don't care. If you've read this or you know that, put it in the comments. Armorers, Batriel, Anine, Zeveb, Zamviel, Ertiel, Torel, Yamiel, Arzariel. These were the prefects of the 200 angels, and the remainder were all with them. Then they took wives, each choosing for himself, who they began to approach, and with whom they cohabitated, teaching them sorcery, incantations, and the dividing of roots and trees. And the women conceiving brought forth giants, whose stature was each 300 cubits. These devoured all which the labor of men produced, until it became impossible to feed them, when they turned themselves against men in order to devour them, and began to injure birds, beasts, reptiles, and fishes, to eat their flesh, one after another, to drink their blood. Then the earth reproved the unrighteousness. Chapter 8. Moreover, Azazel taught men to make swords, knives, shields, breastplates, the fabrication of mirrors, and the workmanship of bracelets and ornaments, the use of paint, the beautifying of the eyebrows, the use of stones of every valuable and select kind, and of all sorts of dyes, so that the world became altered. And piety increased, fornication multiplied, and they transgressed and corrupted all their ways. Amzarach taught all the sorcerers and dividers of roots. Armorers taught the solution of sorcery. Barkayal taught the observers of the stars. Ekigbil taught signs. Tamiel taught astronomy. And Azradel taught the motion of the moon. And men being destroyed cried out, and their voice reached to heaven. 9. Then Michael and Gabriel, Raphael, Suriel, and Uriel looked down from heaven and saw the quantity of blood which was shed on earth, and all the iniquity which was done upon it, and said one to another, it is the voice of their cries. The earth deprived of her children has cried even to the gates of heaven. And now to you, O ye holy ones of heaven, The souls of men complain, saying, obtain justice for us with the Most High. Then they said to their Lord the King, thou art Lord of lords, God of gods, kings of kings. The throne of thy glory is forever and ever, and forever and ever is thy name sanctified and glorified. Thou art blessed and glorified. Thou hast made all things. Thou possesseth power over all things, and all things are open and manifest before thee. Thou beholdest all things, and nothing can be concealed from thee. Thou hast seen what Aziel has done, how he taught every species of iniquity upon earth, and has disclosed to the world all the secret things which are done in the heavens. Samyaza also have taught sorcery, to whom thou hast given authority over those who are associated with him. They have gone together to the daughters of men, have lain with them, have become polluted, and have discovered crimes to them. The women likewise have brought forth giants. Thus has the whole earth have been filled with blood and iniquity. And now behold, the souls of those who are dead cry out and complain even to the gate of heaven. Their groaning ascends, nor can they escape from the unrighteousness which is committed on earth. Thou knowest all things before they exist. Thou knowest these things and what has been done by them, yet thou dost not speak to us. What on account of these things ought we to do to them? Chapter 10. Then the Most High, the Great and Holy One, spoke and sent out Arsai Lyor to the son of Lachem, saying, say to him in my name, conceal thyself. Then explain to him the consummation which is about to take place, for all the earth shall perish. The waters of the deluge shall come over the whole earth, and all things which are in it shall be destroyed. And now teach him how he may escape, and how his seed may remain in all the earth. Again, the Lord said to Raphael, bind Azazel, hand and foot, cast him into the darkness, and opening the desert, which is Dudal, cast him there. Throw upon him hurtled and point stones, covering him with the darkness. There shall he remain forever, cover his face, that he may not see the light. And in the great day of judgment, let him be cast into the fire. Restore the earth, which the angels have corrupted, and announce life to it, that I may revive it. All the sons of men shall not perish in consequence of every secret, by which the watchers have destroyed, and which they have taught their offspring. All the earth has been corrupted by the effects of the teaching of Azazel. To him, therefore, ascribe the whole crime. To Gabriel, also the Lord said, go to the biters, to the reprobates, to the children of fornication, and destroy the children of fornication, the offspring of the watchers from among men. Bring them forth and excite them once again. Excite them one against another. Sorry, guys. Let them perish by mutual slaughter, for length of days shall not be theirs. They shall all entreat thee, but their fathers shall not obtain their wishes respecting them, for they shall hope for eternal life. and that they may live, each of them 500 years. To Michael likewise the Lord said, go and announce his crime to Samziah and to the others who are with him, who have been associated with women, that they may be polluted with all their impurity. And when all their sons shall be slain, when they shall see the prediction of their beloved bind them for 70 generations underneath the earth, even to the day of judgment and of consummation, until the judgment, the effect of which will last forever, be completed. Then shall they be taken away in the lowest depths of the fire, in torments, and in confinement shall they be shut up forever. Immediately after this shall he together with them burn and perish. They shall be bound until the consummation of my generations. Destroy all the souls addicted to dalliance and the offspring of the watchers, for they have tyrannized over mankind. Let every oppressor perish from the face of the earth. Let every evil work be destroyed. The plant of righteousness and of rectitude appear, and it produce, become a blessing. Righteousness and rectitude shall be forever planted with the plight. And then shall all the saints give thanks and live until they have begotten 1,000 children, while the whole period of their youth and their Sabbaths shall be completed in peace. In those days all the earth shall be culminative in righteousness. It shall be wholly planted with trees and filled with benediction. Every tree of delight shall be planted in it. It shall be vines. In it shall vines be planted, and the vine shall be planted in it shall yield fruit to satiety. Every seed which shall be sown in it shall produce for 1 measure of 1,000, and 1 measure of olive shall produce 10 presses of oil. Purify the earth from all oppression, from all injustice, from all crime, from all impiety, and from all the pollution which is committed upon it. Exterminate them from the earth. Then shall all the children of men be righteous, and all nations shall pay me divine honors and bless me, and all shall adore me. The earth shall be cleansed from all corruption, from every crime, from all punishment, and from all suffering. Neither will I again send a deluge upon it from generation to generation forever. In those days, I would open the treasures of blessings which are in heaven, that I may cause them to descend upon earth and upon all the works and labor of men. Peace and equity shall associate with the sons of men all the days of the world, in every generation of it. Chap 12. Before all these things, Enoch was concealed, nor did any one of the sons of men know where he was concealed, where he had been, and what had happened. He was wholly engaged with the holy ones and with the watchers in his days. I, Enoch, was blessing the great Lord and King of peace. And behold, the watchers called me Enoch, the scribe. Then the Lord said to me, Enoch, scribe of righteousness, go tell the watchers of heaven, who have deserted the lofty sky, their holy everlasting station, who have been polluted with women, and have done as the sons of man do, by taking to themselves wives, and who have been greatly corrupted on the earth, that on the earth they shall never obtain peace and remission of sin, for they shall not rejoice in their offspring. They shall behold the slaughter of their beloved, shall lament for the destruction of their son, and shall petition forever, which shall not obtain mercy and peace. Then Enoch, passing on, said to Aziel, thou shalt not obtain peace. A great sentence is gone forth against thee. He shall bind thee. Neither shall relief, mercy, and supplication be thine on account of the oppression which thou hast taught, and on account of every act of blasphemy, tyranny, and sin which thou hast discovered to the children of men. Then departing from him, I spoke to them all together, and they all became terrified and trembled, beseeching me to write for them a memorial of supplication, that they might obtain forgiveness, and that I might make the memorial of their prayer ascend up before the God of heaven, because they could not themselves thenceforwards address him, nor raise up their eyes to heaven on account of the disgraceful offenses for which they were judged. Then I wrote a memorial of their prayer and supplication for their spirits for everything which they had done, and for the subject of their entreaty, that they might obtain remission and rest. Proceeding on, I continued over the waters of Dan, which is on the right to the west of Armon, reading the memorial of their prayer until I fell asleep. And behold, a dream came to me, and visions appeared above me. I fell down and saw a vision of punishment, that I might relate it to the sons of heaven and reprove him. When I awoke, I went to them, all being collected together, stood weeping in Obelisciel, which is situated between Libanos and Sincere, with their faces veiled. I related in their presence all the visions which I had seen and my dream, and began to utter the words of righteousness, reproving the watchers of heaven. This is the book of the words of righteousness, and the reproof of the watchers who belong to the world, according to that which he who is holy and great commanded in the vision. I perceived in my dream that I was now speaking with a tongue of flesh, and with my breath, which the Mighty One has put into my mouth of men, that they might converse with it, and understand with the heart, as he has created and given to men the power of comprehending the word of understanding. So he created and given to me the power of reproving the watchers. The offspring of heaven, I have written you your petition, and in my vision it has been shown me that what you request will not be granted you as long as the world endures. Judgment has been passed upon you. Your request will not be granted you. From this time forward, never shall you ascend into heaven. He has said that on the earth he will bind you as long as the world endures. But before these things you shall behold the destruction of your beloved sons. You shall not possess them, but they shall fall before you by the sword. Neither shall you entreat for them, nor for yourselves, but you shall weep and supplicate in silence. The words of the book which I wrote, a vision thus appeared to me. Behold, in that vision, clouds and a mist invited me, agitated stars and flashes of lightning impelled and pressed me forwards, while winds in the vision assisted my flight, accelerating my progress. They elevated me aloft to heaven, I proceeded until I arrived at the wall built with stones of crystal. Vibrating flame surrounded it, which began to strike me with terror. Into the vibrating flame I entered and drew nigh to the spacious habitation built also with stones of crystal. Its walls, too, as well as pavement, were formed with stones of crystal, and crystal likewise was the ground. Its roof had the appearance of agitated stars and flashes of lightning, and among them were cherubim of fire in a stormy sky. A flame burned around its walls, and its portal blazed with fire. When I entered into this dwelling, it was hot as fire and cold as ice. No trace of delight or of life was there. Terror overwhelmed me, and a fearful shaking seized me. Violently agitated and trembling, I fell upon my face. In the vision I looked, and behold, there was another habitation, more spacious than the former. Every entrance to which was open before me, erected in the midst of vibrating flame. So greatly did it excel in all points, in glory, in magnificence, and in magnitude, that it is impossible to describe to you either the splendor or the extent of it. Its floor was on fire, above were lightnings and agitated stars, while its roof exhibited a blazing fire. Attentively I surveyed it and saw that it contained an exalted throne, the appearance of which was like that of frost, while its circumference resembled the orb of the brilliant sun, and there was the voice of the cherubim. From underneath the mighty throne, rivers of flaming fire ensued. To look upon it was impossible. One great in glory sat upon it, whose robe was brighter than the sun and whiter than snow. No angel was capable of penetrating to view the face of him, the glorious and the effulgent, nor could any mortal behold him. A fire was flaming around him. A fire also of great extent continued to rise before him, so that not one of those who surrounded him was capable of approaching him among the myriads who were before him. To him, holy consolation was needless, yet did not the sacrificed who were near him departed from him either by night or by day, nor were they removed from him. I also was so far advanced with a veil on my face and trembling. Then the Lord with his own mouth called me, saying, "Approach hither, Enoch, at my holy word." And he raised me up, making me draw near, even to the entrance. My eye was directed to the ground. Then addressing me, he spoke and said, "Hear, neither be afraid, O righteousness Enoch. Thou scribe of righteousness, approach hither and hear my voice. Go say to the watchers of heaven, who have sent thee to pray for them, you ought to pray for men and not men for you. Wherefore have you forsaken the lofty and holy heaven, which endures forever, and have lain with women, have defiled yourselves with the daughters of men, have taken to yourselves wives, have acted like the sons of the earth, and have begotten on impious offspring. You, being spiritual, holy, and possessing a life which is eternal, have polluted yourselves with women, have begotten in carnal blood, have lusted in the blood of men, and have done all those who are flesh and blood do. These, however, die and perish. Therefore have I given to them wives, that they might cohabit with them, that sons might be born of them, and that this might be transacted upon earth. But you from the beginning were made spiritual, possessing a life which is eternal, and not subject to death forever. Therefore, I made not wives for you, because being spiritual, your dwelling is in heaven. Now the giants who have been born of spirit and of flesh shall be called upon earth evil spirits, and on earth shall be their habitation. Evil spirits shall produce from their flesh, because they were created from above. From the holy watchers was their beginning and primary foundation. Evil spirits shall they be upon earth, and the spirits of the wicked shall they be called. The habitation of the spirits of heaven shall be in heaven, but upon earth shall be the habitation of terrestrial spirits who are born on earth. The spirits of the giants shall be like clouds, which shall oppress, corrupt, fall, contend, and bruise upon earth. They shall cause lamentation. No food shall they eat, and they shall be thirsty. They shall be concealed, and shall not rise up against the sons of men and against women, for they come forth during the days of slaughter and destruction. And as to the death of the giants, whosoever their spirits depart from their bodies, let their flesh, that which is perishable, be without judgment. Thus shall they perish until the day of the great consummation of the great world. A destruction shall take place of the watchers and the impious. And now to the watchers who have sent thee to pray for them, who in the beginning were in heaven. Say, in heaven have you been, secret things, however, have not been manifested to you, yet you have known to reprobate mystery. And this you have related to women in the hardness of your heart. And by that mystery have women and mankind multiplied evils upon the earth. Say to them, never therefore shall you obtain peace. They raised me up into a certain place, where there was the appearance of a burning fire. And when they pleased, they assumed the likeness of men. They carried me to a lofty spot, to a mountain, the top of which reached to heaven. And I beheld the receptacles of light and of thunder at the extremities of this place, where it was deepest. There was a bow of fire and arrows in their quiver, a sword of fire and every species of lightning. Then they elevated me to a babbling stream and to a fire in the west, which received all the setting of the sun. I came to a river of fire, which flowed like water and emptied itself into the great sea westward. I saw every large river until I arrived at the great darkness. I went to where all the flesh migrate, and I beheld the mountains of the gloom, which constitutes winter, and the place from which issues the water in every abyss. I saw also the mouths of all the rivers in the world and the mouths of the deep. I then surveyed the receptacles of all the winds, perceiving that they contributed to adorn the whole creation and to preserve the foundation of the earth. I surveyed the stone which support the corners of the earth. I also beheld the four winds which bear up the earth and the firmament of heaven. And beheld the winds occupying the exalted sky, arising in the midst of heaven and of earth, and constituting the pillars of heaven. I saw the winds which turned the sky, which caused the orb of the sun and all of the stars to set. And over the earth I saw the winds which support the clouds. I saw the path of the angels. I perceived that this I perceived at the extremity of the earth the firmament of heaven above it. Then I passed on towards the south, where burnt, both by day and night, 6 mountains formed of glorious stones, 3 towards the east and 3 towards the south. Those which were towards the east were of a great variegated stone, one which was the margarite, and another of the antimony. Those towards the south were of red stone. The middle one reached to heaven like the throne of God, a throne composed of alabaster, the top of which was of sapphire. I saw too a blazing fire hanging over all the mountains. And there I saw a place on the other side of an extended territory where waters were collected. I likewise beheld terrestrial foundations deep in the fiery columns of heaven. And in the columns of heaven I beheld fires, which descended without number, but neither on high nor into the deep. Over these foundations also I perceived a place which had neither the firmament of heaven above it, nor the solid ground beneath it. Neither was the water above it, nor anything on wing, but the spot was desolate. And there I beheld 7 stars, like great blazing mountains, and like spirits entreating me. Then the angel said, this place until the consummation of heaven and earth will be the prison of the stars and the host of heaven. The stars which roll over fire are those which transgress the commandment of God before their time arrived, for they came not in their proper season. Therefore was he offended with them and bound them until the period of the consummation of their crimes in the secret year. Sorry, guys, my eyes are blurring, so I'm not seeing things clearly. And then Uriel said, here the angels who cohabited with women appointed their leaders, and being numerous in appearance made men profound, and caused them to err, so that they sacrificed to devils as to gods. For in the great day there shall be a judgment, with which they shall be judged until they are consumed. And their wives also shall be judged, who lay astray the angels of heaven, that they might salute them. And I, Enoch, I alone saw the likeness of the end of all things, nor did any human being see it as I saw it. These are the names of the angels who watch. Uriel, one of the holy angels who presides over clamor and terror. Raphael, one of the holy angels who presides over the spirits of men. Raguel, one of the holy angels who inflicts punishment on the world and the luminaries. Michael, one of the holy angels who presiding over human virtue commands the nations. Sarakiel, one of the holy angels who presides over the spirits of the children of men that transgress. Gabriel, one of the holy angels who presides over XXIV, over paradise, and over the cherubim. Then I made a circuit to a place in which nothing was completed. And there I beheld neither the tremendous workmanship of an exalted heaven, nor of an established earth, but a desolate spot prepared and terrific. There too I beheld 7 stars of heaven, bound in it together, like great mountains and like a blazing fire. I exclaimed, for what species of crime have they been bound, and why have they been removed to this place? Then Uriel, one of the holy angels who was with me and who conducted me, answered, Enoch, therefore dost thou ask, wherefore reason with thyself and anxiously inquire. These are those of the stars which have transgressed the commandment of the Most High God, and are here bound until the infinite number of the days of their crimes be completed. From thence I afterwards passed on to another terrific plain, where I beheld the operation of a great fire blazing and glittering, in the midst of which there was a division. Columns of the fire struggled together to the end of the abyss, and deep was their descent, but neither its measurement nor magnitude was I able to discover, neither could I perceive its origin. Then I exclaimed, how terrible is this place, and how difficult to explore. Uriel, one of the holy angels who was with me, answered and said, Enoch, why art thou alarmed and amazed at this terrific place, at the sight of this place of suffering? This, he said, is the prison of the angels, and here they are kept forever. From thence I proceeded to another spot, where I saw on the west a great and lofty mountain, a strong rock, and 4 delightful places. Internally, it was deep, capricious, and very smooth, as smooth as if it had been rolled over. It was both deep and dark to behold. Then Raphael, one of the holy angels who were with me, answered and said, these are the delightful places where the spirits, the souls of the dead, will be collected. For them were they formed, and here will be collected all the souls of the sons of men. These places in which they dwell shall they occupy until the day of judgment and until their appointed period. Their appointed period will be long, even until the great judgment. And I saw the spirits of the sons of men who were dead, and their voices reached to heaven while they were accusing. Then I inquired of Raphael, an angel who was with me, and said, whose spirit is that, whose voice of which reaches to heavens and accuses? He answered, saying, this is the spirit of Abel, who was slain by Cain, his brother, and who will accuse that brother until his seed be destroyed from the face of the earth, until his seed perish from the seed of the human race. At that time, therefore, I inquired respecting him and respecting the general judgment, saying, why is one separated from another? He answered, 3 separations have been made between the spirits of the dead, and thus have the spirits of the righteous been separated, namely by a chasm, by water, and by light above it. And in the same way, likewise, are sinners separated when they die and are buried in the earth, judgment not overtaking them in their lifetime. Here their souls are separated, moreover abundant in their suffering until the time of the great judgment, the castation and the torment of those who eternally excrete, whose souls are punished and bound there forever. And thus has it been from the beginning of the world. Thus has there existed a separation between the souls of those who utter complaints and of those who watch for their destruction, to slaughter them in the day of sinners. A receptacle of this sort has been formed for the souls of unrighteous men and of sinners, of those who have completed crime and associated with the impious whom they resemble. Their souls shall not be annihilated by the day of judgment, neither shall they arise from this place. Then I blessed God and said, Blessed be my Lord, the Lord of glory and of the righteousness, who reigns over all forever and forever. From thence I went to another place towards the west until the extremities of the earth, where I beheld a fire blazing and running along without cessation, which intermitted its course, neither by day nor by night, but continued always the same. I inquired, saying, What is this which never ceases? Then Raguel, one of the holy angels who were with me, answered and said, This blazing fire which thou beholdest running towards the west is that of all the luminaries of heaven. I went from thence to another place, and I saw a mountain of fire flashing both by day and night. I proceeded towards it and perceived 7 splendid mountains, which were all different from each other. Their stones were brilliant and beautiful. All were brilliant and splendid to behold, and beautiful was their surface. 3 mountains were towards the east, and strengthened by being placed one upon another, and 3 were towards the south, strengthened in a similar manner. There were likewise deep valleys, which did not approach each other, and the seventh mountain was in the midst of them. In length, they all resembled the seat of a throne, and auriferous trees surrounded them. Among these, there was a tree of an unceasing smell, nor of those which were in Eden, were there one of the fragment trees which smelt like this. Its leaf, its flower, and its bark never withered, and its fruit was beautiful. Its fruit resembled the cluster of a palm. I exclaimed, Behold, this tree is goodly in aspect, pleasing in its leaf, and in the sight of its fruit, delightful to the eye. Then Michael, one of the holy and glorious angels who were with me, and one who presided over them, answered and said, Enoch, why dost thou inquire respecting the odor of the tree? Why art thou inquisitive to know it? Then I, Enoch, replied to him and said, Concerning everything I am desirous of instruction, but particularly concerning this tree. He answered me, saying, That mountains which thou beholdest, the extent of whom head resembles the seat of the Lord, will be the seat on which shall sit the holy and great Lord of glory, the everlasting King, when he shall come and descend to visit the earth with goodness. And that tree of an agreeable smell, not one of carnal odor, there shall be no power to touch until the period of the great judgment, when all shall be punished and consumed forever. This shall be bestowed on the righteous and humble. The fruit of this tree shall be given to the elect, for towards the north life shall be planted in the body in the holy place, towards the habitation of the everlasting King. Then shall they greatly rejoice and exult in the Holy One. The sweet odor shall enter into their bones, and they shall live a long life on the earth, as they forefathers have lived. neither their days shall sorrow, distress, trouble, punishment afflict them. And I bless the Lord of glory, the everlasting King, because he has prepared this tree for the saints, formed it, and declared that he would give it to them. I'm going to end it there, guys. I hope all of you enjoyed. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Please share if these readings are something that you enjoy. I know a lot of people have read this and posted on it, but I want to include it on my page because I think it's very important and it goes hand in hand with the succession of books that I've been reading for everybody. Until the next time, sending each and every one of you love and light. Have a wonderful night, day, or afternoon, wherever you inhabit. Bye.